everyone, MeltingMan234 here, and welcome to another episode of Forgotten Media, where I dig up some stuff you may or may not have heard of. Today we'll be looking at a unique subject that is probably considered one of Sony's forgotten systems, known as the Pocketstation, a small little device that was made by Sony and was originally going to be released in December 23rd, 1998, but it was delayed for a month and was released in Japan on January 23rd, 1999. The Pocketstation is a personal digital assistant and would usually come with a lanyard and was available in two standard colors, white and clear. They also made other colored versions, and they are extremely rare, or they could possibly be knockoffs, and we'll get into that later on. The Pocketstation is a small device with 4 directional buttons, an action button, a reset button, an infrared communicator, a memory slot that holds up to a decent amount of memory, a speaker on the back, and a place for the battery. It has a small LCD screen that tells the time and date, a place to save your games, and a place to set an alarm. The Pocketstation also functions as a memory card. That way you can save your game on them, and there will be some fancy minigames unlocked on the Pocketstation. Some of them are more like Tamagotchis, taking care of little characters like one of the Crash Bandicoot ones showing him doing some stuff. With the infrared communicator, you can connect with other Pocketstations for some multiplayer action. As this game was only in Japan, 58 games were able to work with it, and only the Japanese release of certain games were functional, like the Japanese versions of Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon games. Each of them have their own unique fashion. One of the interesting ones is Final Fantasy VIII for the PlayStation, which is also the only US game that can work on the Pocketstation. With the Pocketstation, you can play this little minigame called Chocobo World, level up your characters, and find some specific items. Then when you plug it into the PlayStation, all that saved data will be in the game, and that's really cool. So as you can tell, this device works on a usual PlayStation console. If you pop it in the PlayStation 2, then it'll be the same. Instead, it'll show a Pocketstation icon instead of the usual memory card icon in the main menu. They also released an interesting accessory called the Pokeleer. You put your Pocketstation in it and stylize it with its different styles, such as a snowboarder, a robot, and a person with headphones for both boys and girls. And it also has its own features for the Pocketstation for more fun. The only downside to this is that it has a very short battery life, as this device works with a lithium battery. You know, those thin pancake ones that are usually used to power wristwatches and all that stuff. Well, since it's used to power a device like this, it drains the power very fast, just like the Sega Game Gear did. But despite this flaw, the Pocketstation was very popular in Japan. One of the most popular games for it was Tokodemo Ishio, which was the first time to feature Sony's mascot Toro in his first game. The company had some ideas of releasing it outside of Japan, but the idea was abandoned. Sony felt that the people outside of Japan wouldn't understand its functions and wouldn't sell well, just like how people didn't understand what the Game Boy Micro was capable of doing. So if you lived in Japan, or at least know how to speak Japanese, you'd probably have fun playing around with this device. That is, if you have your own Japanese model of the PlayStation. After shipping 5 million units all over Japan, the Pocketstation was discontinued in July of 2002 and was never seen again. Nowadays, you can mostly find a Pocketstation on eBay for either a cheap or expensive price, but you'll have to be careful because sometimes if you purchase one, it might end up as a knockoff. That's right, there have been a few knockoff Pocketstations that have been made. You'll have to look closely to see if it is a knockoff or not. Some say that if the device comes in a box, there's a good chance that it's a knockoff, as they usually come in little bags. But I've heard people say that the Pocketstation is not a fake, as it was made by Sony, and only the box wasn't made by Sony, since there are various designs for the boxes. So the whole Pocketstation in a box thing is still up in the air, but the best way to tell if it's a knockoff or not is its screen. If you look closely, the PlayStation logo is etched into the screen, and if it doesn't have that, then it's a fake. On the PlayStation Network, where Sony celebrated their 15th anniversary, the Pocketstation can be seen in one of the main icons. Since it wasn't released in the US, we had no idea what it was, but it was a nice bit of trivia to those who knew about the Pocketstation. During the time of its release, Sega made a device for the Dreamcast that was similar to the Pocketstation, known as the Visual Memory Unit. But that's another story. In closing, the Pocketstation was a pretty cool way to not only play minigames on the go, but also help level up your characters and gather objects that can be ported into the game for more extras, and can be considered kind of like a collector's item nowadays. Well, that wraps up this episode of Forgotten Media. So this is Melting Man 234 signing out.